It happened in the dead of night. One moment, the alien fleet hovered ominously over Earth, massive, dark, and bristling with weapons. The next, they were gone. Not a trace, not a signal, not even the faintest ripple in the sky. Every satellite, every telescope, every government agency scrambled for answers. But there were none. The world held its breath. Had the invaders retreated? Had they been destroyed? Or was this the calm before something far worse? At the United Nations Emergency Response Center, General Thomas Rourke stood frozen, his hands clenched behind his back as the last radar blip faded from the screen. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered. "They had us. They could have wiped us out. So why did they just vanish?" Across the globe, theories flooded the internet. Some believed Earth's defenses had secretly developed a superweapon. Others feared the aliens had only left to return in even greater force. But there was one theory, a quiet one, hidden among the noise, that no one wanted to speak aloud. What if humanity had done something they feared? Deep within a classified research facility, Dr. Evelyn Carter, an astrophysicist specializing in extraterrestrial signals, sat staring at the last transmission from the fleet. It wasn't a message of conquest. It wasn't a warning. It was a single phrase, spoken in a language humans weren't supposed to understand. Yet, when translated, it sent a chill through her veins. "We made a mistake. They are not what we expected." Her pulse quickened. "What did we do?" she whispered. Outside, the world celebrated cautiously. Fireworks lit up the night. News anchors spoke of a new dawn for humanity. But deep in the shadows, the real question loomed. What had scared them away? And more importantly, were they truly gone? The celebrations didn't last long. 3 days after the alien fleet vanished, reports began trickling in, subtle at first, dismissed as paranoia. Satellite blackouts. Strange power fluctuations. Entire regions where drones refused to fly, as if something unseen jammed their signals. At the Pentagon, General Rourke stared at a grainy satellite image from a deep space observatory. A faint distortion, like a ripple in reality itself, hung in Earth's upper atmosphere. It wasn't a fleet, not anymore. But something was still there. Watching. "They didn't leave," Rourke muttered. "They're hiding." Across the country, in a dimly lit research lab, Dr. Evelyn Carter replayed the alien message for the 100th time. "We made a mistake. They are not what we expected." What did they mean? What had humanity done? Her fingers hovered over her keyboard as she analyzed the last known energy readings from the alien ships. They hadn't been shot down. They hadn't fled. The energy signature suggested something else, something terrifying. The fleet had been consumed. A chill ran through her. The Draconians, a race known for conquering planets without hesitation, had met something they feared. And it wasn't humanity's weapons. It wasn't technology. It was something older. Something primal. A frantic knock at her door made her jump. It was Daniel Cho, an exobiologist who had been tracking deep-sea anomalies. His face was pale, eyes wide. "You need to see this," he gasped, shoving a tablet into her hands. It was a sonar scan from the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest, most unexplored places on Earth. And yet, the scan showed something impossible. Massive, organic structures shifting in the abyss. Pulsing. Expanding. Almost as if, feeding. Evelyn's breath hitched. "This wasn't a retreat," she whispered. "They came too close to Earth's secret." Daniel swallowed hard. What secret? She met his gaze, the realization sinking in like a stone in her gut. They thought we were the monsters. And for the first time, she wasn't sure if they were wrong. The ocean had always been a mystery, vast, dark, and mostly unexplored. But now, Evelyn and Daniel stood aboard the Odyssey, a deep-sea research vessel, watching live footage from a drone descending into the Mariana Trench. The screen flickered, revealing a haunting landscape, jagged rocks, shifting shadows, and something else, something alive. The organic structures pulsed with a dull, bluish glow, resembling veins running through the seafloor. Long tendrils reached upward, moving almost as if they were searching, or waiting. Daniel broke the silence. These readings. They're not geological. They're biological. This thing, it's ancient. Evelyn's mind raced. Could it be connected to what happened to the Draconians? Maybe this is what they encountered, something they didn't expect. Before Daniel could answer, the drone's camera jerked. Something massive passed just beyond the viewfinder, a shadow, swift and deliberate. Then, static. Signals gone, the technician shouted, frantically typing. Evelyn's heart pounded. Reboot it. Now. But deep down, she knew. The drone wasn't coming back. The crew fell into a tense silence, the only sound the soft hum of the ship's engines. Evelyn turned to Daniel. If these things took the Draconians, what makes us think they won't come for us next? Daniel hesitated. Maybe, they already have. He pulled up data from ancient seismographs, strange patterns recorded centuries ago, dismissed as anomalies. But now, cross-referenced with the drone's readings, they formed a pattern. These creatures, Daniel said, they've been here longer than us. Maybe they've been watching us this entire time. Evelyn's thoughts spiraled. What if humanity had never been Earth's dominant species? What if they were just tolerated? The ship's lights flickered, breaking her thoughts. Then, a loud bang echoed from below deck. The crew scrambled, Evelyn and Daniel leading the charge. They reached the lower levels, where water trickled through a crack in the hull. But it wasn't just water. A strange, glowing liquid seeped in, moving against gravity, as if alive. Daniel backed away, his voice trembling. It's here. Suddenly, the liquid surged, forming a semi-translucent mass that hovered in mid-air. From within, faint shapes became visible, faces, distorted and agonized, trapped in an eternal scream. Evelyn's stomach twisted. The Draconians. They hadn't been destroyed. They'd been absorbed. The mass lunged, but Evelyn slammed a metal door shut just in time, sealing it off. The crew scrambled to the upper decks, hearts racing. Breathing heavily, Evelyn looked at Daniel. We need to warn the others. This thing, whatever it is, it's not just in the ocean. It's everywhere. Daniel nodded, but his face was pale. But what if the others already know? What if that's why the Draconians came here in the first place, to stop it? The horrifying possibility sank in. Maybe Earth wasn't the Draconians' target. Maybe they were trying to save humanity from something far worse. The Odyssey cut through the dark waters, racing back toward the mainland, but the tension on board felt suffocating. Evelyn stood at the ship's command center, her fingers trembling over the console as she replayed the footage from the lost drone, frame by agonizing frame. The images were distorted, but one chilling detail stood out. As the shadow swallowed the drone, a pattern appeared, circular symbols etched into the seafloor. They weren't natural. They were warnings. Daniel approached, his face drawn and pale. These symbols, they match carvings found in ancient ruins, places untouched for millennia. Evelyn's brow furrowed. You think humans knew about this, before? He nodded. Not just knew. They might have worshipped it. The idea sent shivers through her. Could humanity's oldest myths, gods, monsters, unexplained disappearances, have been echoes of something real? Suddenly, the ship's comm system crackled to life. A deep, distorted voice echoed through the speakers, speaking in a language neither human nor draconian. The crew froze, their faces pale. Evelyn leaned toward the mic. "This is Captain Evelyn Cross of the Odyssey. Identify yourself." There was silence. Then, in fractured English, the voice replied. "You were never meant to awaken it." The line went dead. Daniel's face twisted in fear. "They're warning us. Whatever this thing is, it's waking up." Moments later, the ship's radar lit up with dozens of contacts, massive objects rising from the ocean depths, heading straight for them. Evelyn's heart raced. Full speed ahead. "Get us out of here." But it was too late. A colossal figure breached the water beside the ship, its form a grotesque blend of organic and mechanical. Its surface rippled with glowing veins, the same as the mass they'd seen below deck. But the most terrifying part was what clung to its body: draconian ships, twisted and fused, their crews visible within, trapped and screaming silently. Evelyn's voice shook. "It's feeding on them." The creature opened what looked like a maw, releasing a high-pitched frequency that made the crew clutch their ears in agony. But it wasn't an attack, it was communication. Through the ringing, Evelyn heard fragments of thought. Images flooded her mind: Earth eons ago, before humanity, when these creatures roamed freely. They weren't invaders or protectors. They were part of the planet itself, ancient guardians who had been forced into slumber as humanity rose. The Draconians hadn't come to conquer Earth. They had come to contain these ancient beings, to stop them from awakening. But now, it was too late. The colossal guardian swam alongside the ship but didn't attack. Instead, it projected a final message into Evelyn's mind. "The balance is broken. Choose your side." The ship rocked violently as the creature submerged again, leaving a whirlpool in its wake. Evelyn staggered to her feet, her mind racing. "We're caught between two forces, the Draconians trying to stop this, and these ancient beings who see us as part of their world." Daniel's eyes darkened. "Then the real question is, who do we side with? The invaders who tried to save us, or the planet's original masters?" A heavy silence filled the room. Evelyn knew one thing for certain: whatever choice they made would determine humanity's future. And time was running out. The Odyssey drifted in uneasy silence. The encounter with the ancient guardian had shaken the crew to their core. No one spoke, but the weight of the choice they now faced pressed heavily on every heart. Evelyn stood at the viewing deck, staring out at the endless ocean, her mind racing. Two forces loomed large, one alien, one ancient, and humanity was trapped between them. Daniel approached quietly, breaking the silence. "We need to decide, Evelyn. The Draconians, they tried to stop this. Maybe they aren't the enemy." She clenched her jaw. "But they never told us why they came. They saw Earth as a battleground, not as a home." The comms crackled again, this time, with a familiar voice. "Commander Vex of the Draconian fleet. Human vessel, we see you survived the awakening. There is still a chance to contain it, but we need your cooperation." Evelyn hesitated. "Why didn't you warn us? Why attack us first?" There was a pause. Then, Vex replied, his voice strained. "We thought you were aligned with them. Your species unknowingly guards the key to their full awakening, the relics buried deep beneath your cities. If they get them, nothing will stop their rise." Daniel's eyes widened. "The ancient symbols we saw, cities built over them. We've been living on top of their prisons this whole time." Evelyn felt a surge of dread. "So, you want us to destroy them?" "Yes. Before it's too late." But before she could answer, another presence stirred in her mind, the ancient guardian. Its voice echoed deep within, not through speakers but through thought. "They fear us because they do not understand. We are not your enemies. We are Earth's soul, bound to its survival. They wish to destroy us to claim your world for themselves." Tears welled in Evelyn's eyes. She was caught in a tug-of-war between two powerful forces, both claiming to act in Earth's best interest. Daniel whispered, "What if neither of them is telling the truth?" But there was no more time. The ocean erupted as dozens of ancient guardians began to surface across the horizon. At the same moment, draconian ships reappeared, flanking the Odyssey, heavily damaged but ready to strike. Vex's voice returned, urgent. "We will wipe them out, but if you assist, we can spare your people." Evelyn took a deep breath. She remembered her mother's words from long ago, "In moments of chaos, listen to the earth, it will guide you." Closing her eyes, she focused on the hum beneath her feet, the ocean's pulse, the subtle vibrations of the planet. And then, clarity. These guardians, they're not invaders. They're trying to restore balance. It's us who upset it. Daniel looked at her, torn. But if we side with them, the Draconians will destroy us. Evelyn opened the ship's communication channel and made her choice. "We won't help you destroy them, Vex. But we won't fight you either. This is our planet. And we'll decide its future." There was a chilling pause. "So be it." The skies erupted in battle as draconian ships fired upon the rising guardians, who retaliated with forces unseen, ripping through metal with waves of energy. Evelyn and her crew took the Odyssey deep underwater, seeking refuge as titanic forces clashed above. But as they descended, something unexpected happened. The Guardians, sensing Evelyn's choice, parted the waters, revealing an ancient underwater temple, a beacon of light and energy. Daniel gasped. This must be the source of their power." The Guardian's voice returned, softer now. "Restore the balance, Evelyn. The future of Earth lies in your hands." Evelyn's heart pounded. She had made her choice, but the hardest part was yet to come. And as the ship moved deeper into the ancient temple, one question echoed in her mind. Was humanity worthy of this second chance? The Odyssey glided deeper into the illuminated waters, drawn toward the ancient temple that now radiated with a quiet, almost maternal warmth. The ship's lights flickered, not from malfunction but in response to the energy pulsing from the temple. It felt as though the planet itself had awoken, watching, waiting. Evelyn stood at the helm, her hands trembling slightly over the controls. "We're close. I can feel it." Daniel nodded, though uncertainty lingered in his eyes. What if this is a trap? What if we're just pawns in something bigger? Evelyn didn't answer. She didn't need to. Deep inside, she knew this was humanity's final test. The ship settled near the temple's entrance, its surface covered in strange glowing runes, symbols Evelyn recognized from their first encounter with the Guardian. They spoke of balance, of guardianship, and of sacrifice. The crew suited up and disembarked onto the ocean floor, feeling the immense pressure of the deep but also the profound energy resonating through their bodies. As they approached the entrance, the Guardian's voice echoed once more, not through any speaker, but within their minds. "This temple holds Earth's core essence. Long ago, we sealed it to protect the world from forces that would consume it. Now, the balance is shattered. Only a pure-hearted choice can restore it, or destroy it forever." Evelyn swallowed hard. "And what happens if we fail? Then Earth will fall, and all who call it home will perish." The weight of the decision pressed on her chest like a boulder. They weren't just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for every life on the planet. Inside the temple, shimmering walls of crystal reflected their every movement. At the center stood an ancient altar, a glowing orb hovering above it, pulsating with raw energy. Daniel scanned it. This must be the core essence the Guardian spoke of. But, there's something else. He pointed to two inscriptions on the altar, both in the same alien script they'd seen before. Evelyn stepped closer, using her translation device. The first inscription read, "Awaken the Guardians, restore Earth's balance but risk humanity's dominance." The second read, seal the core, protect humanity but doom the planet's natural order. Evelyn's heart sank. It was the ultimate choice. Awaken the Guardians fully and allow them to restore Earth, even if it meant humanity might no longer rule supreme, or seal the core to keep humanity safe, but allow the planet to continue decaying under their carelessness. Daniel's voice cracked. We could lose everything either way. Evelyn closed her eyes, recalling memories of Earth, the forests, oceans, children playing in the parks, cities bustling with life, and the pollution, the wars, the selfishness that had brought them here in the first place. Maybe, she whispered, we were never meant to rule this planet. We were meant to protect it. Her hand hovered over the orb, but before she could make her choice, the temple shook violently. Through the crystal walls, they saw draconian ships descending rapidly, firing beams at the rising Guardians. Explosions rippled through the ocean, shockwaves tearing through coral and ancient structures. The comms blared. Vex's voice boomed, filled with anger and desperation. Human. Step away from the core. You don't understand what you're doing. Evelyn responded, her voice calm but resolute. I understand perfectly. I'm choosing Earth over everyone's pride, including ours. Vex sneered. Then you've doomed your species. Before he could act, the temple itself responded. The orb pulsed brighter, sending waves of energy that knocked back the invading ships. Evelyn placed both hands on the orb. I choose balance. A blinding light erupted, enveloping the temple, the ocean, the sky above, and every living being on Earth. Images flooded Evelyn's mind, memories not just of her life but of the planet's. Ancient forests, vast oceans teeming with life, and civilizations rising and falling. She felt Earth's pain, its hopes, and its lingering resilience. When the light subsided, Evelyn found herself back on the Odyssey's bridge. Outside the window, the ocean had calmed, but something was different. The sky above shimmered with a golden hue. The draconian fleet was gone, vanished without a trace. The Guardians hovered peacefully above the waves, no longer threats but protectors. Daniel exhaled shakily. What happened? Evelyn smiled, tears streaming down her face. We were given a second chance. But as they prepared to return home, the Guardian's voice echoed one final time. The balance has been restored, but humanity's journey is not over. Now, you must prove you are worthy of this gift. Evelyn understood. Earth had been saved, but the real test had just begun. And with that, the Odyssey began its journey back to the surface, a new world awaiting them. The Odyssey broke through the ocean's surface, sunlight glinting off its damp hull. But it wasn't the same sun they remembered. The sky shimmered with hues of gold and violet, as if Earth itself had been reborn. Evelyn stood at the viewing deck, her heart heavy with both hope and fear. The comm systems buzzed with static before a familiar voice came through, General Armitage, back at Earth Command. Odyssey, we've been tracking your signal. What in God's name happened out there? Our satellites picked up some kind of global energy surge. And the draconian fleet vanished. Evelyn hesitated. How could she possibly explain what had just transpired? We made a choice, she finally said. Earth is safe now. But it's changed. The general paused. Changed how? Before Evelyn could answer, the ship's sensors lit up. Daniel rushed to the console, his eyes wide with disbelief. You need to see this. They pulled up live satellite feeds. Forests that had been dying from decades of pollution were now lush and vibrant. Rivers once tainted by waste now ran clear. The ozone layer, riddled with holes for centuries, was whole again. But it wasn't just the environment. Across the world, humans stood frozen, staring at something none could explain, ethereal beings, the Guardians, visible now to all. They hovered in the skies, in the forests, in the oceans, their forms majestic and peaceful. Evelyn's heart raced. They're showing themselves, to everyone. Odyssey, the general's voice crackled, what does this mean for us? Evelyn closed her eyes, hearing the Guardian's final words echo in her mind, now, you must prove you are worthy of this gift. It means, she said, her voice trembling, we've been given a second chance. But under their watch. The Odyssey landed at Earth Command days later. Crowds gathered, news outlets broadcasting live as Evelyn and her crew disembarked. People cheered, but there was also fear in their eyes, uncertainty about this new world. Evelyn stood at a podium, facing billions through screens. She took a deep breath. We stood at the brink of extinction, she began, not because of an alien invasion, but because of our own actions, our greed, our carelessness. We polluted, we fought, and we ignored the warnings. But this planet, it forgave us. It gave us another chance. She gestured to the skies where a guardian hovered silently above. But not without conditions. The guardians, ancient protectors of Earth, will hold us accountable now. They won't interfere with our free will, but they will watch. And if we fall into the same patterns, there may not be another chance. A heavy silence fell over the crowd. People exchanged glances, fear mingling with hope. Daniel stepped forward. This isn't a punishment. It's a lifeline. We can rebuild better, stronger. Not just for us, but for every life on this planet. From the crowd, a small girl stepped forward, clutching a wilted flower. She held it out, and to everyone's amazement, the flower slowly bloomed in her hands, revived by the lingering energy in the air. The crowd gasped, then erupted in cheers. Evelyn smiled, tears welling up. This is what we're fighting for. Life. Hope. And the chance to be better. In the months that followed, Earth began to heal, not just the land, but its people. Nations that once waged wars now worked together to undo centuries of damage. The Guardians remained, silent sentinels, watching from the skies, oceans, and forests. Evelyn often stood atop Earth Command's tower, gazing at one Guardian that hovered above the city. She no longer feared them. She understood their purpose now. Daniel joined her one evening, handing her a cup of steaming coffee. Think we'll make it? Prove we're worthy? Evelyn took a sip, watching the sun dip below the horizon. We have to. This time, there's no room for mistakes. And as the stars blinked into the evening sky, humanity stepped into a new era, not as rulers of Earth, but as its stewards. A second chance. A fragile peace. And the hope that this time, they'd get it right.